going into every game, being expected to perform. We did have a lot of pressure, and people at the beginning of the year, they're like, Texas is going to win the Natty again.
Having the expectations of being one of the top players in my class and not wanting to let everyone down or people talking like, you're not going to be as great in college.
People would compare the two of us, say that I'm slow, I'm not worth it, play someone else.
I kind of let it get to me at first. I played really timid and I was just kind of scared of making a mistake, and it made me play worse.
What I realized is don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from.
Realizing it's not the end of the world if I make a mistake, and I'd rather make one being fully confident and swinging for it, going for it, than being scared of making one.
I love playing volleyball, so I'm not playing for anyone else, I'm not playing for anyone in the stands, but I'm playing for me.
And holding on to those small wins, so like getting better in practice, that's a win for me. Making my teammate better, that's a win for me. Helping my teammates, being positive, that's a win for me.
Welcome to the Winners Club podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Wilson, and today I'm here with UT volleyball players Cari Spears and Ayden Ames. Cari, Ayden, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so we're going to try something a little different this episode. Ayden's already been on the podcast, so if you want to check out her episode, you can click right here. So we already know her story about how she was a Gatorade National Player of the Year, USA gold medalist, #1 recruit, blah, 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 blah. But or she did just complete her first full year at UT, so we're going to get into that in a second. But first, we got to get to know Cari Spears. So, Cari, let's start from the beginning. What are your first memories as a volleyball player?
Well, I first started playing volleyball because I would always be in this gym called PSA. It's like a little rec gym here. And I would be there just like, I don't actually even know why. I think my cousin was playing volleyball or something. And I thought it looked really easy. And I was like, okay, like I can do this. And so I tried it. And then like when I was 5, I started playing. And I just like fell in love with it, and it kind of got serious at a young age with like club in Texas, and so like ever since then I just played.
Yeah, and then you became a 3-time state champion and 2-time Gatorade Texas Player of the Year. So what did you do differently from other players to achieve those accomplishments?
Well, I was surrounded by really great teams like in high school my freshman year all the way up to my senior year to like help me win those. And then I think just like kind of just putting in the work, I think, is like what you have to do. There's like no way around working, and you just have to like be willing to sacrifice and be willing to give things up in order to put yourself in a position where you want to be. And I think just like having to give up like holiday vacations, like breaks, like you don't get to go on spring break whenever your friends are there. Like you're literally either playing in a tournament or like training, working out. So I think just like having to sacrifice those, it kind of like makes you want it more too, because you know how much you're giving. So like you're like, okay, I'm not gonna let this like go to waste.
And it did pay off because you also played with Team USA and won gold at the Pan American Championships. So how was that experience?
It was really fun. I was 15 whenever I played for them. So like I'm literally surrounded by like the top girls in college. Like today, like literally Ayden was there. Like it was our first year there. And Jamie, who was our coach, was like, we know you're really young, so like we just want you to come in, like get experience in the gym and things like that. And so I was kind of going into it like not really trying to put pressure on myself, because I knew I was surrounded by like so many great athletes and girls. And so it was a privilege to be in the gym, honestly, and I was just trying to learn as much as I could while I was there. And I made the team, which was great, and it was great to just kind of be introduced into USA like that and like be on that team with so many amazing players.
And then you made the decision to go to UT. So what was your recruiting process like, and how did you decide on UT in the end?
It kind of took me a while before I committed. I committed in like October, which is like kind of late for volleyball, I feel like. But I knew going into it kind of what I wanted in a college, and my mom was really set on me like making a list of things that I want, things that I'm like not willing to give up, and things that like, okay, I can kind of give this up, and things that I'm like, okay, I don't really care about that. And so I kind of knew what I wanted going into a college, and I felt like that really helped me a lot in my process, because I knew what schools I kind of could eliminate at the beginning. And then also I think just telling coaches, I had told all the coaches that I talked to that I was like set on taking my officials before I committed, because I wanted to like be there on campus and see what it was like, because like obviously they can tell you all these things. But I think just like when I got to Texas and I saw the campus and I was around the girls, everybody says you get that feeling, which like it sounds like cliche or whatever, but I honestly did. And I really like connected with the coaching staff and how they like coach the girls and their philosophy, and they really like emphasize how they care more about us as people than as players. And like getting there in the spring season, like it's evident that they do. And so my recruiting process was like, it was long, but it was fun, and I enjoyed getting to know like all the coaches and the schools. But yeah, it landed me at Texas.
That brings us to y'all teaming up at Texas. So now, since Ayden's been there a full year, I'll let you ask Ayden any question you want about her full year at UT.
Okay, well, my first one is gonna be kind of what was like the biggest difference that you saw in high school versus college.
I think the biggest adjustment in college is like the mental health part of it, and just like the stress that you kind of get mentally, as well as like stress on your body just from practicing in the weight room and just becoming a different version of yourself. But I think mentally, it can be very challenging. You know, going into every game, being expected to perform, playing in front of thousands and thousands of fans that are also expecting you to perform. It can just be really mentally draining. But what I realized is that, you know, I chose Texas because I love playing volleyball for me, and I'm here to see how far I can go. So I'm not playing for anyone else. I'm not playing for anyone in the stands. I'm not playing for any of my friends, any of my loved ones, but I'm playing for me. And that was something that I really had to learn when I got there, just to kind of relieve some of that stress and just play free, just play like myself. And once you kind of get over that mental roadblock, you just feel like unstoppable.
As a freshman, like what's one piece of advice that you would give to me, or like something that you think I should like hold on to my freshman year?
I think freshman year, I think it's all about just creating a solid foundation and a solid base for your next 3 years. Freshman year, again, it can just be so stressful, like especially, you know, if you're expected to perform. And I think freshman year is all about just like getting the jitters out, getting comfortable in your surroundings, getting used to, you know, your new jersey, your new uniform, your new fans, your new coaches. I would say try and get comfortable as fast as you can, just so you can feel like, you want to feel like you're a veteran. You want to feel like you belong, and everything's brand new, but that doesn't mean that you can't kind of get over that roadblock and shine. So being a freshman is so hard, you know, physically, mentally, but I would say something to take away is just get as comfortable as fast as you can, learn as fast as you can, take in as much information as you can, and just have fun. Just play like yourself. Don't worry about anything.
What was the hardest moment of your freshman year?
The hardest moment of my freshman year would probably, I have two things in mind. One thing was probably my first ever game when we played Wisconsin, and it was in the Milwaukee Bucks Arena in front of 14,000 people. And I was coming off playing high school in front of maybe like 2,000 to 3,000 people, and I was looking around the gym, and I was like, wow, this is insane. There's so many eyes on me. So many people are watching me. So many people are expecting me to perform. And I remember standing on the line, like when they were calling out your names, and I like don't even remember him calling my name. I just like waved to everyone and then like ran down the line. Like I just blacked out completely. But I think looking back on it, I'm just happy that I got to experience that and take that in. And even though it was my biggest challenge at the time, and I didn't play the way I wanted to, I mean, I'm glad that I kind of got through that and was able to use the first set to get my jitters out, get the nerves out, and just kind of play, like cancel out all the noise, cancel out all the fans, and just like be one with yourself. Another hard moment was the A&M game at home. It was very heated. We ended up losing 18-16 in the fifth set, which was very unfortunate. I actually was subbed out, and that was like the first time where I realized that I will never let that happen to me ever again. And that was a huge change mental-wise for myself, because when you realize, like looking back on it, if you were scared to do something, I was scared to hit the ball, I was scared to, you know, go all out, go 100%, and you look back on it and you're like, I could have done more, I shouldn't have been scared. It's the worst feeling in the world. And I looked back on that moment and I was like, I will never go out on the court and play timid ever again. Ooh, I'll ask a question. As a freshman, what has been, I know you haven't played in a season yet, you haven't played in a game, but what has been like your most challenging moment so far?
I honestly think that it was our first like set against Houston in our spring game.
In the first spring game,
yeah. Because like you said, like I was just so nervous. Like that's my first time like representing Texas, like on the court playing for them, and like just kind of like seeing like people like and you're expected to do so well. Right. Especially like our freshman class, like we know that we have a lot of talent and stuff, and so like being expected to be held to those standards. Not even that, but just like this is also our first time. We're kind of nervous. Like, I don't know. So I think that was like honestly the hardest part for me. And I felt like you said, I played really timid in that game, and I like was just kind of scared to like make a mistake, and it made me like play worse, I feel like. And so I think kind of after that first set, I kind of regrouped, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna be fine. Like kind of just playing for myself and kind of taking it like one point at a time, I think really helps. And then also like you were just telling us like, okay, let's just focus on the next point. Like let's just get through this, because you've been there too. Like you were a freshman literally last year. So like I think just having like the older girls talk us through it, and then also just like kind of bringing myself back to me and like realizing it's not like the end of the world if I make a mistake, and like I'd rather make one being fully confident and swinging for it, going for it, than like being scared and making one. So I think just like dealing with those nerves at first was like really challenging and like weird, because in high school like I feel like I wasn't as nervous for every game.
Something that honestly I had to realize was like you're so humble. Like everyone on the team is so humble, but sometimes like you have to be so confident. You're almost cocky in yourself. Like tell yourself like I'm the best player on this court. I'm the best player in this gym. And it kind of sounds like, you know, you have like a big ego, but if you tell yourself that like you're the best player in the gym, you're going to play like you're the best player in the gym. Just tell yourself, you know, like right here.
I'm going to ask both of y'all questions because y'all both have a lot of similarities. Y'all both didn't have an initial passion for volleyball. Ayden hated it, and then Cari thought it was easy. So how did y'all maintain that passion and love for volleyball and keep it fun?
I think something that helped me maintain the passion was like the little victories. I think every practice, every game, you know, I would fail so many times, but I would get that small victory like, oh, I, you know, maybe got a kill on this ball that maybe I shouldn't have, or I jumped higher, or I, you know, something like that. Just those small things that you're like, wait, I'm actually getting better and I'm proving myself. And you know, sometimes like in the big picture, maybe I wasn't the best. Like when I was 12 years old, I was a little baby giraffe and I couldn't control my limbs. My limbs were like super long, super skinny. And I wasn't the best player, but I found love in figuring out the ins and the outs of the game. And I found love in just finding small victories.
Yeah, I think for me, initially, like it was just really fun for me to play. And I felt like as I kept going, I kind of had to keep refining my love for it because I've been playing it for so long. And so, like, naturally, you kind of go through burnout and you're like, do I really want to keep playing this? But honestly, I think kind of like Ayden said, like, little victories help a lot just to kind of keep you going and seeing that you're going to get better. And then I also really like the competitiveness and, like, also, like, you have to be a team in volleyball. I think that's my favorite part about it, is that like you literally can't do it by yourself. And I feel like just getting close with the girls, like you build so many like special relationships, and thinking about like walking away from that and like walking away from volleyball in general, like I was like every time I would feel like, oh, do I really want to do this? Like I would think about it and I would literally be like, no, like I love this sport. Yeah. Like right now it sucks like that I have to like go do this workout for it or whatever. But like I can't imagine not doing it and like not having that love for it and just like that passion for it. I think like teammates really keep you going as well. Like just having that connection with them.
Y'all are both Gatorade Players of the Year. So is there a story that would illustrate your sacrifice, the work it took to become that?
So I got Gatorade December of my senior year. So the end of my junior year, like which was like May of 23. I actually was invited to a USA Volleyball workout with the NTDP program. So it's not like the national team, but it's kind of like the development program. And I ended up going, and I ended up missing prom. And I was in Baltimore, Maryland, while all my friends were back home, like they were at prom, and it was junior year, so it would have been my first prom, and I had the biggest case of FOMO. I was sitting in like some random hotel room in Baltimore, and I was just like scrolling through my phone, like looking at all these pictures, videos, group chats, Instagram stories, and I just felt like I was missing out so much. But looking back on it, that opportunity from getting invited to the development program got me a spot on the U19 U national team that summer, and then we ended up winning gold that summer. And that, looking back on it, that was a huge part of my resume for Gatorade. And so like you don't see it in the moment. Like in the moment you're so frustrated, like, oh, I just wish I was hanging out with my friends. And then you look back on it and like this, like the plot of events that happened for you to get to where you are today, it just like lays out perfectly.
I think one for me was literally so recently because I just graduated, so we just had prom, but I knew that if I graduated early, I would miss like prom. And our school like does a lot of traditions for seniors, so like senior run is like a big thing. Like they have a lot of senior traditions that I knew I would have to miss. And our prom was actually the day of, or the day after, I can't remember, of our UTSA game. Oh, wow. And so I knew I was going to have to miss it. And honestly, it was a sacrifice, but I wasn't really super sad about missing it because I wouldn't honestly have rather been anywhere else. And I knew that like coming in the spring would be so worth it. And like I have no regrets. Like, but I think just like coming in the spring in general, like having to miss out on so many things is like a sacrifice in itself. And like you're working double time in the summer to like get to be able to graduate early and things like that. So like having to miss things for that. But honestly, I wouldn't change it. Like it was a sacrifice, but like one that like I wasn't really sad about.
And speaking of that, y'all both graduated early somehow with all the volleyball y'all play. So how do y'all balance school and sports? What's the secret? What's the tricks?
I really had like little motivation to do it other than graduating early because like it's summer, like I don't want to be thinking about school. I don't want to do school. But just knowing that it would like lead me to be able to graduate early was like what really got me through it. And then in college, I feel like we have so many resources at Texas that help us with our academics, and like we have to do mandatory study hall, and like at the time it sucks, but like it honestly helps because you make sure that you're like getting all your assignments done and you see what you have to do. In college, just like we have so many resources, so it's hard not to be on top of it almost. And obviously I haven't gone through like fall season with it, but in spring we were really on it and like knew what we had to do.
Well, I would say being a student athlete at Texas is so hard because of how academically challenging Texas is. Even for me, I'm a corporate communications major, and it's like still like I'm not like a mechanical engineering major, but I am still swamped with schoolwork. And so I think at the end of the day, even though I am the biggest procrastinator, it comes down to getting my schoolwork done, knowing like when I can, knowing that I'm going to be busy later. Like I have practice from a certain amount of time. I have to do my homework now, or I have a game tomorrow night at 8 p.m. and my essay's due tomorrow at 11:59. I will not have time to do my essay after the game. So it's like just making sure, as much as I'm a procrastinator, it's just getting stuff done when I can, especially my schoolwork, knowing that, you want to focus on your sport as much as you can. And so you want to make sure that you're balancing it in a nice way and just focusing on volleyball when you need to and school when you need to. So just getting that done.
You'll both deal with a lot of pressure and expectation at the highest level. So are there any mental practices y'all do to take care of your mental health and maintain a healthy headspace?
Yes, actually. The other day, after UConn women's basketball won the national championship, I heard a quote from Paige Beckers, and she said, "Don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from." And I was like, wow, that is so true. Like if I look in the comment section of an Instagram post or my DMs or, someone like talking in my ear and, maybe they're criticizing me for my sport or how I did the night before. And you have to just look at them and be like, you're not my coach. You're not one of my mentors. You're not one of my loved ones. Like, I'm not going to take criticism from you if I won't take advice from you. So just like remembering that is that you are doing this for you. Like I'm playing volleyball for myself. It's one of my hobbies that I love. I come to practice every day. I'm trying my best out there. I'm going out on the court. It's not like I'm not trying, but I'm trying my best to prove myself and make everyone proud, especially being a young player and filling the shoes of an older player in my position the year before. Of course I got it. People would compare the two of us, say that I would never be as good as her, say that I'm slow, I'm not worth it, play someone else, or I would get blamed a lot for wins and losses. And it happens all the time. Whether you're good or bad, whether your best game or your worst game, it's going to happen. So just kind of accepting it for what it's, going to be, just knowing that hate's always going to be there and just kind of keep doing what you're doing.
As I was going into Texas, it kind of like started picking up a lot. Like into DMs, like people talking, like you just see it in comments about yourself. And so I kind of like let it get to me at first. Like it was like kind of weighing on my confidence a little bit. knowing what you're putting in and knowing what your coaches think about you, what your teammates think about you, like that's honestly the most important thing. And then holding on to those small wins, so like getting better in practice. Like at the beginning of spring, I was like, because we were just learning so much, and like I sucked at first, like it was hard to learn, but just seeing yourself get better so much quicker too. So I think just like knowing what you're capable of, and like honestly just not even like reading it or paying attention to it, and like you said, not taking criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from, and those people honestly don't really matter if they have like time to put a hate comment on your post. Like honestly, you really shouldn't be listening to them. So I think just kind of holding on to like knowing how good of a player you are, and you're at Texas for a reason. Like we're at a really good program, and we wouldn't get here if we weren't good.
What about off the court? Sometimes you have to step away from volleyball. Last time, Ayden, you said you baked and stuff. Do you still bake? Or like what do you like to do outside of volleyball to take your mind off it?
Well, I was living in a dorm for a year, so not baking anymore. But I'm having a like fun time of like exploring Austin. You can go try new restaurants, try new coffee shops. You can go swimming in Barton Springs. You can go kayaking. You can go hiking. You can go watch the sunset. You can go to every single sports game they have at Texas. Like I just love just getting out of the house and just kind of like seeing what like life and everything has to offer. And I like love hanging out with my teammates. We will text the group chat. We'll be like, hey, is anyone tanning today? And I love the quality time that our team spends together. And it's great when, you know, you have people like that surrounding you, so that you want to hang out with them on the weekends. Like you spend so much time with your teammates in general, whether it's practice, weightlifting, school, everything. And it's like to have teammates that you actually want to spend time with outside of school is like huge.
We all click so well, and it's like really like, it's not something that happens with every team. And this year, like honestly, it didn't even feel like real. It was literally like a dream. Like our team was like perfect, almost like we all got along so well. We literally would text in the group chat and be like, anybody tanning, anybody want to go to get food, like go to the baseball game. We honestly went to a lot of sporting events for other teams together as well. But I think just like spending time with my teammates, and me and my roommate Addie, like we're always doing something. We like to go try new restaurants. I'm a big foodie, so like we like trying a lot of new restaurants. When I'm by myself, honestly, I like to just like, this is gonna sound really boring, but I like just like chilling in it was my dorm or like apartment, but calling my family, like talking to my siblings. I'm really close to my family, so I think just like being with them. I read sometimes. Like I kind of like stopped doing it as much in college. I did like a lot in high school, but like I'll probably get back into that because it's something I enjoy doing.
In Austin, so like some of my favorite shops, I love coffee. So I like every morning I wake up and I'm like, oh, where am I gonna go get coffee today? There's this restaurant up the I-35 called Easy Tiger. It's a cute like brunch place. They have the best latte. I don't remember what flavors. It's like cinnamon, honey, and like vanilla or something. Easy Tiger has a great latte. But I'm also a big sushi person. Do you like sushi?
Yeah.
I love sushi. There's this place downtown called Maiko that I love going to. There's Blue in the Domain. So like any like place. Like also Austin has some good food trucks.
Last year, y'all were expected to win the championship, but unfortunately lost in the semis. How'd you deal with not meeting the highest expectations that everyone had for y'all?
Yeah, so we lost in the regional semifinals to Creighton, and that was a very tough loss for us. We, I think after like the whole season, after returning a lot of older girls and everything and returning a lot of talent, we did have a lot of pressure, and people at the beginning of the year, they were like, Texas is going to win the Natty again. And it's tough, you know, when you don't necessarily do as well as, you know, people thought you were going to. It's really tough to deal with, but at the end of the day, like we learned so much from the season, and looking back on it, I had a great learning season for my freshman year, and I was able to play with some older girls that had a lot of experience under their belt. Just some things, like, they just don't click sometimes, and that's all right, and you can't necessarily put your finger on it, but you just have to know that there's, like, expectations for people out there, and you're never obligated to meet those expectations. Like, whether you end in national championship or you end in, if you lose first round of the tournament, like, there's expectations that you don't have to meet, and we're out there every year. Like, we have high expectations of ourselves, so we're going to hold ourselves to those high expectations, and it doesn't matter about other people. So.
What did you learn from last year, and how are y'all gonna try to go all the way this year or perform your best this year at UT?
I learned so much last year, and I'm so grateful for my season last year. And there's a lot of things that I can take into this year, such as like experience, confidence, like I would say strength and power, especially with the level of NCAA going from high school to college. Girls get taller, faster, and stronger. So I think just using that experience and taking that into the next year is going to be a huge takeaway for me. And I'm just so excited to see, like, we're not the oldest team, but I think we're the most raw. Like, we have raw talent. And I'm excited to see, you know, our new girls, all of our exciting freshmen and Cari and some of our transfers just come in and just, you know, take over and just, you know, what's the word for it? Just like, I don't know, take over the show, I guess. Yeah. And just kind of keep that Texas tradition alive and kind of just have, you know, the returners and the new girls just kind of build off each other and have this great energy. And I'm excited for this year, see how far we can go.
As a freshman, none of us have like played like that. The amount of pressure that you'll be in a regional semifinal, like playing that great team. So I think honestly, just relying on like the older girls like Ayden and people who have like experienced that before playing the top teams in the NCAA, kind of just trusting them and like leading us in the right direction in the gym and them holding us accountable to being at a high level in the gym. Because like I said, we don't really know, like, we know what good volleyball is, but we've never played at, like, the highest level of volleyball. So I think just trusting in the people that have been there before us and our transfers, like, Tori's a Final Four. Like, she's been to the Final Four. Like, she has a lot of experience, and Ramsey and literally everyone that we brought in has really good experience. So just trusting in them. And then I think just, like, using our spring to fuel us. I feel like we had a really great spring, and we learned so much, and our coaches were telling us that it was a really great spring, so just like trusting them and trusting that they're going to get us to where we need to be able to win.
What's been the biggest mental hurdle that you guys have had to overcome?
Growing up in high school with like all these rankings and recruiting rankings and, you know, people putting you 1, 2, 3, 4, it gets really hard when there's people out there that tell you that you don't deserve it, you know, and there's people that will talk behind your back and talk to others, and it gets back to you, and you're like, oh, someone I really trusted doesn't think that, you know, I deserve my #1 spot in the class of 24 in Texas ranking. And that's like so difficult to overcome because like as a young player, you want to please everyone. Like you're trying to get recruited, you're trying to look good in front of coaches, you know, college coaches, high school coaches, and you know, you want to be your best for everyone. And when there's people out there doubting you, you're like, oh shoot, like maybe I'm not that good. Maybe I'm not as good as they think. But the biggest mental hurdle was realizing that like no matter where I'm at in my career in high school, that means nothing because you look at all these stories of these girls that are national team players, Olympians, and some of them were on twos teams when they were 17 years old. And like, it doesn't matter where you're at now. All it matters is like the work that you put in to get where you want to be in the future.
I think the biggest mental hurdle for me was right before I got to Texas. I kind of talked about it, but like, just having the expectations of being like a great player, being like one of the top players in my class, and not wanting to like let everyone down or like be like, oh, like you're not going to be as great in college, like things like that. And I think just kind of going back to remembering why I'm playing, like I'm playing for myself, like knowing how good I can be and what I'm capable of, and kind of just rebuilding that confidence. And I think I really did that a lot this spring. So I would say that was the biggest mental hurdle that I've gone through. But I think honestly just being at Texas helped me so much with that, and it's so much better now.
All right, last question. Ayden already answered this last time, so we'll let Cari end it off. How do you define the word winner? It's not anyone else's definition of the word winner, but after a game, whether you actually won or lost the game, how do you tell yourself that you were a winner in that game?
Honestly, I just define it by how much I helped my team, and also like checking myself to make sure I gave everything I could to help my team win. I guess like kind of setting small goals before a game is something that I really like tried to focus on, and so like achieving those goals, like that's a win for me. Making my teammate better, that's a win for me. Helping my teammates, or like being positive, like feeding into the team positively, that's a win for me. And obviously, like at the end of the day, like the scoreboard, like you want that to say a win too. But if I don't, I think just holding on to those small wins for myself and the goals that I've set for myself.